as somebody who works on the ground with young people every day, what do you believe is driving some of the challenges amongst us? So the violence, the indiscipline, the misbehavioral patterns among Caribbean people, not just Jamaicans, but Caribbean people in general.
I would say there is no single cause because some person would say it comes from bullying, substance misuse, social media, and
Right.
all the different things that cause. And we are seeing the effects of changing family structures,
Mm.
exposure to crime, social media, peer pressure, economic challenges, weak in a community support system, mental and emotional pressures, and in some cases, inconsistent parenting and boundaries. We also have children growing up in an environment where crime and disrespect can sometimes be the norm to some persons. So when children repeatedly see aggression being used to solve problems, they can begin to see it as acceptable.
Hello, Rene. How are you doing?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know this has been a long time coming, and I'm happy that we're actually finally doing it. I'm finally having a much needed conversation that will impact not just our islands individually, but the wider Caribbean. So I want to thank you so much for coming on.
You're
All right,
welcome.
all right. So let's start from the very beginning. Just introduce yourself to my audience.
I am Dr. Rene Level, and I'm an author and an educator, and I live in Jamaica.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that. Short, sweet, and simple. So then, you said that you're an educator and an author, but is there an area that you specify in?
Yes, here in
Okay,
Jamaica, I work as a dean of discipline.
okay, okay. So when people hear the word discipline, they often think of punishment. They think of, you know, back in the at least back in the day, licks, whoopings, and these type of things. Does that align with what you do, or doesn't it align with what you do?
No,
Okay.
licking and whipping is not aligned with what I do. Dean of discipline role, we are
Hmm.
responsible for student discipline. And when we're responsible for students' discipline, we
Hmm.
manage disciplinary matters and ensure school rules and policies are applied. We look at behavioral management. We address misconduct, conflict, bullying, and other behavioral concerns. And we
Go.
do a lot of student support. So we work with students to understand the causes of inappropriate behavior and encourage positive change. We work with parents also to
Okay.
communicate with parents, guardian, and with regards the behavioral challenges that the students display in that aspect. We work alongside with staff collaboration. In this way, we work with teachers,
Hmm.
guidance counselors, administrators, and other stakeholders to address students' concern. And we also look at school safety, support the development of safe, respectful, and to have a safe environment. And one of the big things that we work when we work as deans of discipline, we look at student leadership. We work with students to promote responsibility, leadership, citizenship, and positive school culture. And in this way, we implement policies that help ensure that the school follow the ministry guideline. And in one way, we do that, we create life skill intervention sessions to work with students.
Got you. Got you. Now, I know that everybody's story and everybody's role in society in a lot of ways stems back to their childhood. So, I am, based on my research, I learned that you are a Saint Anne girl, right? You grew up in that community, Clarksonville in particular. Um, Tell me what a young Rene Level was like, and where did the desire to teach and influence young minds come from?
Thank you for that
Mhm.
question. When I look back at my childhood stage in Clarksonville, St. Anne, one of the free village,
Mhm.
I see a little girl, and that's me,
Mhm.
who was curious, determined, and naturally drawn to leadership.
Okay.
Even as a child, I enjoy bringing other children together.
Wow.
I would gather them for spell of competitions, doing work with them. I remember this young lady that I normally would ensure that I call her. Her name is Jacqueline. We used to call her Sheshe. When the other children didn't get the time, I ensure that she come by my house and I will go through work with her because I love the whole teaching
Mhm.
within me. So I think that's where I get that passion from and within that. And I was already demonstrating the qualities of an educator. So
Got
I
you.
believe the desire to teach was always within me. I love learning, but I also love helping others to learn. And I want people around me to discover what they were capable of. Looking back now, I can see that some of the work I am doing today began in that little community in St. Anne.
Got you. Got you. Now, I also read that your mother told you that education would have been your way out, right? A way to a better life for yourself. How much of the woman that you are today and the professional that you are today can be traced back to that inspiration and that message from your mother?
Thank you for that question. That's I would say a tremendous amount of work. My
Mm-hmm.
mother planted a very important seed in me that education could change my life and I must study hard if I want to become the best person that I can be. She taught me that where I start did not have to determine where I ended. That message became part of my mindset. And my father also.
Right.
Right. My father always said that Marcus Garvey was a powerful man, and anything that you want to achieve out of life, you can achieve it. And with all those principles, I look within myself, I work towards my goals. So every degree, every professional experience, every book I have written, and every young person I have encouraged is connecting in some way to that early understanding that education can create a wonderful opportunity.
Got you. That is pretty interesting. So then I also know that even with all that information from your parents, your pathway into your career was unconventional. I read that you have worked with inner city youth, you've worked with juvenile people, young people in juvenile facilities and vulnerable communities. What did these experiences teach you that you couldn't learn in a textbook or school manual?
A textbook can teach you how to apply your whole knowledge about child development, behavior. And my background is in law and psychology and education. But working directly with at risk young people teach me to look beyond the behavior. A child who is angry, disruptive, withdrawn, aggressive, are constantly breaking rules, maybe communicating pain, fear, neglect, insecurity, frustration, or need to be seen. Those experiences taught me not to define a child or a children. But their worst moments also taught me that sometimes one caring adult can become a turning point in a child's life.
Wow.
And that is why I continue to do the work that I am doing, transforming lives and creating responsible citizens.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm seeing that, you know, they often say that hard times bring out the best in individuals, and taking a path that most people might not want to, because, you know, all of the stigma attached to working with certain young people and working with certain individuals in society might have been attached. And I'm seeing that you didn't really care about that. You're focused on how you could impact, and that taught you and elevated you into something new.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. I love that a lot. All right, so with you for our first break, and we'll be back with more Dr. Level after this. All right, so we're back with Dr. Level. And before you left, Dr. Rene, you were speaking about, you know, your background and how it was unconventional. And I saw that part of your training, or part of your development, actually was sparked by a conversation with an inmate that helped redirect you towards working in schools. Now, tell me about that conversation, and then also tell me what did that awaken in you, and why did you decide to take a different path?
Thank you for that question.
Hmm.
That conversation was a defining moment for me. I remember speaking with an inmate and hearing him reflecting on his life and the choices that had brought him to that point.
Right.
What stayed with me was the realization that intervention has to happen before a young person reach a place where society is forced to respond to the consequences. I began asking myself, what if we could reach children earlier?
Mm,
What if someone had listened to them, guided them, challenged them, and helped them make different choices? That experience awakened a deeper sense of purpose within me. It helped me realize that I did not simply want to work with young people after they had reached a stage in their life where they have to be placed in the juvenile facility.
right.
I wanted to be a part of the prevention program.
Got you.
That is one of the reasons schools became such an important part of my journey. When the young man mentioned to me that the amount of work that I am doing in the juvenile facility, he would love for me to go into the school system to work. And I want to say this to you. When I went to the Cumberland High School, I was so astonished. That same young man that mentioned to me that it would be good
Right.
if I work in a school system. He was out of the juvenile facility and then he was at the Cumberland High School
Wow.
because at that time he was at Cumberland High School and then he got involved in negative activities
Right.
and was placed in the juvenile facility and then he his case dealt with
Hmm.
and then he was back in the school system. And I remember when he mentioned to the other students that, you know, she was working in the juvenile facility and no, she is at this school and I'm the person that encouraged her to work in the school system. It lifted my spirit so much.
I can
And
imagine.
that is why I decided to continue to impact life because you don't know who at the end of the day you are going to help and then they will in turn to spread the good news.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Now,
Yes.
now I know we spoke a little bit earlier on, and you said that you're a dean of discipline, and I know, again from my research, that you've introduced a life skills intervention, like you kind of spoke about a little bit a while ago, instead of just discipline misbehaving students. But how do you know when a child or a student, rather, a young person, needs discipline, and when do you know when they need help?
Thank you for that question. So within the life skill intervention program, if a student get involved in a conflict, then you are going to investigate the matter. And when you investigate the matter, you're going to look if it warrants a suspension or it warrants an internal counseling. So after we investigate the matter, then we will write a report to our principal and then we will make the recommendation
Got you.
when we call in both parents. Sometimes it warrants an internal suspension or it warrants to refer the matter to the guidance counselor or external intervention where the child would refer to a justice of the peace or to the Ministry of Justice program or dispute resolution program or whatever external intervention program that is needed. What we do, we try our best as deans of discipline to lower the rate of suspension and try to do a lot of suspension and get social worker to work with us in the schools, justice of the peace, pastors and community persons in that aspect of it because the aim is we want to ensure that all the students are able to understand what is going on in their life and for us to help them along their journey. And that is where the whole life skill intervention come in place, where we look at conflict resolution, teaching students how to manage disagreement peacefully. We look at the whole emotional regulation, helping students recognize and manage their emotion. We look at communication skills, developing respectful and effective communication, which is the key. We also look at decision making, helping students understand consequences and making responsible choices in that way of how we do things. And as you know, problem solving, teaching students the practical ways to address challenges. And that's why life skill intervention program is an awesome program that I always recommend to school to use, because we have to look within the situation, get to the underlying issues before everything get out of control in that aspect of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you are no longer just a dean of discipline, right? You're the president of Jamaica's National Association of Deans of Discipline. From working on the ground, as somebody who works on the ground with young people every day, what do you believe is driving some of the challenges amongst us? So the violence, the indiscipline, the misbehavioral patterns among Caribbean people, not just Jamaicans, but Caribbean people in general.
I would say there is no single cause, because some person would say it comes from bullying,
Mm-hmm.
um, substance misuse, social media,
Right.
and all the different things that cause. And we are seeing the effects of changing family structures,
Mm.
exposure to crime, social media, peer pressure, economic challenges, weak community support system, mental and emotional pressures, and in some cases, inconsistent parenting and boundaries. We also have children growing up in an environment where, crime and disrespect can sometimes be the norm to some persons. So when children repeatedly see aggression being used to solve problems, they can begin to see it as acceptable. That is why our response must be comprehensive. School cannot do it alone. Families, communities, the government, churches, youth organizations, and other stakeholders must work together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a collaborative effect, a collaborative effort rather, and the effect that it will give off, hopefully, is a positive one, and one that can continue developing in the positive trajectory, because like you rightfully said, it's a myriad of problems. It's not just one issue or one challenge that we have. We have several issues and several challenges facing young people. And some of the issues are spiritual issues. Some of the issues are emotional issues. Some of them are financial and psychological issues. So
Right,
so it takes a village literally to get back to where we need to be. Right?
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that, and understand that 100%. All right. So we're due for our final break, and we'll be back with more Dr. Level after this. Alrighty, so we're back with Dr. Level, and we really dug into in the last break, just focusing on what young people need, right? But I want to continue in this break on that trajectory. I know you've said in the past that the behavior of some parents cause challenges for children and for deans of discipline as well, because it's harder to discipline the children when parents are misbehaving. So the question I have for you is, are we sometimes asking schools to solve problems that actually begin at home?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Schools have an important role, but schools cannot, and I will say cannot, replace the home. A teacher, a dean of discipline may have a child for several hours each
Hmm.
day, but the child's foundation, values, attitudes, relationship, and early experience are shaped long before that child enters the classroom. We have to stop expecting schools to fix every social problem. And I
Right.
said every social problem. Parenting and education must work together. And when I said education, that means the whole aspect. Parents have to understand the importance of education in this setting. When parents and schools communicate, establish consistent expectations, and support one another, children will benefit. And before you have spoke about, and I'm happy that you bring that up, you have spoke about that it take the entire village to raise a child before we went on the break.
Yes.
And when it takes a village to raise a child, this means that raising and developing a child is not the responsibility of a parent alone. A
Absolutely.
child benefits from the guidance, support, protection, and positive influence of many people. The village can include. So you look at the parents and the family, they provide love, values, and values drives an individual behavior.
Right.
They look at discipline and guidance. Teachers and school leaders, educators, mentor help shape the behavior. So remember, the community, yeah?
Yes.
It have to start from the community. And when they're now into the school system, you look at the counselors and support professionals. It provide the emotional and the social support. And also, you also spoke about the spiritual part. We
Hmm.
have to still lean on to the church.
Right.
The church and the community leaders provide moral guidance and positive role models. So that is why we still have to have the devotion in the schools. We have to partner with the churches so that they can take on the role to come and to pray and to encourage the students along their work. The next thing, the technology and the society. This influence how the children learn, communicate, and develop. And in the context of the role of a dean of discipline, since we have started that avenue about the whole dean of discipline, it means that student behavior cannot be addressed by the dean of discipline alone or the teachers alone. Effective intervention requires collaboration among the students, the parents, the teachers, the guidance counselor, the HFLE teacher, the school administration, and the wider community. In simple words, that every child needs a supportive team around them to grow, learn, develop good values, and reach their full potential.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with you on that point. And again, I'll go back to what I said initially. It takes a village. It's not
To
one
raise
person.
a child. And I'm
It
happy
takes a
that you
village.
mentioned that. I am happy. I am happy that you mentioned it. It must be an holistic approach.
For sure. For sure. Now you've gone from just helping and directing troubled youth to writing books encouraging children to believe in themselves. You've written several books about that development. Was authorship always in your mind? And if it was, tell me about that journey.
Wow, you put a big smile on my face. Yes, writing was from early stage. As I said, I work with like my peers in my community, and at
Hmm.
church I perform. Go to Monday night, we call it
Hmm.
H Monday church service on a Monday where we
Right.
read the Bible and we perform and we write our poetry or
Hmm.
telling a story. So writing was from childhood stage.
Okay.
Writing was not a thing that I say that I'm not doing, but I love to perform. And I went to the Excelsior Community College
Okay.
where I do performing arts. So I mean, I went to study creative writings, and in my study, that's what I did because I always have a passion and want to publish my books. So it
Absolutely.
evolved from my work also with, children, my desire
Mm-hmm.
to reach more people. And when you write, you will be able to connect with persons because I am in Jamaica and you are in the next part of the
Yeah.
Caribbean, right?
Right.
So it's basically connecting with persons. So over the years, I found myself repeatedly sharing the same messages. Believe in yourself, understand your purpose, develop your character, make positive choices, and recognize your potential. Eventually, I realized that books could carry those messages beyond the classroom, beyond a workshop, and beyond one conversation. So, writing became another way for me to transform again knowledge to connect people across the world.
Wow. I like that a lot. I really do. Now, having said that though, I know that in one of your books, Shine Like you spoke about your own challenge with shrinking in certain spaces and being afraid to show yourself to the world. Now, we know that authorship, entrepreneurship, um, professional development is not a bed of roses. And I'm seeing that that was one of your challenges. When did you realize that you were not taking your own advice, and what did you do about it?
It's not about that I am basically shrinking.
Okay.
Shrinking. The thing is, I have been working with persons, co writing,
Mm-hmm.
and so I will submit my poems, and that will publish in magazine. My poems were published in the Atlantic International University magazine. I am
Wow.
also an academic advisor at the
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic International University. So my poems published in their magazine. I've worked with Professor Paul Miller. He's in England, a book
Mm-hmm.
chapter that I published with two other authors. And back in the days, I published other materials. So I said to myself that I want to just go solo,
Okay.
just publishing on my own. So that was then I started to reflect and said, I am gonna try this. I am gonna take a bold move, just like how I encourage other persons that they can become the best version
Mm-hmm.
of themselves I said, I am going to take that move to go and publish my books. And I am proud of myself today to know that I publish 8 books. And today I publish my life skill journal,
Beautiful.
which is my life skill journal slash manual. So I have now been published 9 books. I decided that I want to publish the life skill manual so that persons across the world that work with young people can use the manual to impact life. So that's how I decided that, you know what, I am gonna show the next version of Rene
Absolutely.
by putting all my information in my books and encourage person to shine and to be the best version of themselves. And if they want to write their story, they put their information together and not to be afraid to publish their work because someone out there will want to read that information to impact their life.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. But then we do have another problem though, because in today's era we see almost the TikTokification, if I can use, I can create a word of life. You know, people spend a lot of time on TikTok, a lot of time on social media, and don't necessarily read books. So my question to you is: are you worried about literacy, and how do we make books attractive again?
Thank you for that question. As you mentioned about the whole TikTok and what we can do, my concern of the whole literacy, because literacy is much bigger than being able to read words. It includes comprehension, critical thinking
Right.
skills, and the ability to distinguish information from misinformation. But I don't believe we should simple, fight the technology because technology is here to stay. As authors, we have to make our book be so creative, reader friendly. We need to use the technology now to technology intelligently while protecting the value of reading. So
Mm-hmm.
we can encourage parents. Parents can make books attractive by allowing children to choose the books connecting to their interests, like motivational books,
Got you.
reading with them, create their a library at their home. Parents can create a mini library and a poem corner, a storytelling corner, and they can have tea reading,
Right.
coffee and tea, or tea and ice cream and reading to make the whole reading become attractive. Then they don't have to wait until when the child go to school in that aspect of it to bring reading so that it can be more reader friendly in that aspect of it. And we can also use the digital platform to promote books rather than treating technology as the enemy. So the goal should not be to take children away from technology completely. It should be to teach them to use technology without allowing the technology to control them. So whether they are going to let them read a book like on the ebook,
Right.
or they're gonna read it the hard copy reading, whichever. But I know as author, parents, all stakeholders, we have to encourage children to continue to read and to get the information first and don't wait on somebody to give them the second hand information and in that way. So we have to embrace the whole technology. They will be on TikTok. We can't take them off TikTok because if we try to ban them from the phone, they're
Right.
gonna save they're gonna save their money to purchase a phone and then probably hide the phone somewhere, give their friends to keep the phone for them. So when the parents are not around, then they're going to use the device So we have to encourage them to be more responsible in what they are doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're wrapping up, coming close to our end. I know you don't just write for children, you also write for parents. You know, one of your books is actually literally entitled Parenting with Purpose. So then what would you say fundamentally are parents getting wrong? Not because they don't love their children, obviously, but because parenting is drastically changing and it's evolving. What are parents getting wrong in terms of discipline of their children and development as well?
That's a question that you hit at me. Oh my gosh. I would not say that parents getting things wrong. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of supervision, I would
Okay.
say, in that aspect of it. So many parents love their children deeply,
Mm-hmm.
but love alone does not automatically produce effective parenting. So one
Absolutely.
challenge is that some parents are trying to protect their child or children from, every difficulty. But children need age appropriate challenges so they can develop resilience in that
Absolutely.
aspect of it. So we also have to be careful about giving children everything materially while not giving them enough time, boundaries, responsibility, and meaningful conversation. So, parenting today also requires digital awareness. Parents need to understand the environments their child or children are entering, which is the online system. So, most importantly, children need parents who are willing to listen, set boundaries, model the behavior they expected, and intentionally develop character. Not just, academic achievements, but also the social setting. So the parents know who the child is communicating with. Sometimes when they are sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect of it. But I know that we have great parents out there. And because sometimes they are working so hard,
Right.
they do not get the time to monitor their child or children in that aspect of it. But they have to know how to balance it
Got
in
you.
that aspect.
Got you. That makes a lot of sense, and I agree 100%. Dr. Level, at the end of it all, what would you like your legacy to be? What would you like this work that you're currently doing to accomplish so that you can look back and say, yes, I've accomplished this, and this is what I set out to do?
Wow. Thank you for the question. All right. So my mission is to help transform lives through education, purpose, character development, human rights, and intentional support. So, within years from now, I want to see Caribbean children and international children because for me, I love to connect with the Caribbean,
Right,
regional, and international. Try to touch children life across the world.
right.
So children who know their worth, understand their rights and responsibilities, and let them know that rights comes with responsibility. Believe in their potential and have the skills to navigate challenges without turning to conflict or destructive behavior. I want to see schools across the world that educate the whole child, families that work in partnership with schools,
Hmm.
communities that protect their children, and young people who understand that their circumstances may influence their journey, but do not have to define their destiny. If I can look back and know that my work helped everyone, generation of children to believe, I can become more, I can make a difference, I can shine like me. Then I will know the word matter. That is the mission, to educate, empower, inspire, and help children discover the greatness within themselves and then give them the tools to use it purposefully. Because dreams don't expire, even if the years pass by, and if it is still burning your soul, then rise again and make them all. Because dreams don't expire, and you can accomplish anything that you want in life.
Absolutely. I appreciate that so much. And to thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Level. Thank you for all this information. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for the work that you continue doing. Um, have been a real inspiration to me, and I have learned a lot today. So thank you so much for your time and effort. Like I said, and I'm happy that we eventually got to do this.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And I'm happy that I get to do this interview with you and to give me this opportunity to share about the work that I'm doing here in Jamaica, not only in Jamaica and the Caribbean and international. And I want to say to you, keep up the awesome work.
Thank
So,
you.
in life, we have to try to empower each other, to
I
work
agree.
with each other so that we can have a better world. So, keep on shining.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You
All right,
are
guys.
welcome.
Thank you. All right, guys. So this has been yet another episode of the Game Changers Hub podcast. And to thank you for coming on, thank you for listening to us. Remember that Game Changers is available wherever you get your podcast. We are available on YouTube and across audio streaming platforms. We are also available across social media as well. So ensure that you follow us. Changers merchandise is also available wherever you get your merchandise. Not yet. That's a joke. It's not available wherever you get your merchandise. It's only available on our Game Changers website for now. So you can check it out right there. Anyhow, as usual, stay hungry and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.